I once had to teach a blind student how to use GarageBand, and it was an extraordinarily challenging teaching assignment, and I want to talk about it a little bit. This student was phenomenally talented on keyboard. He could play circles around most of the other people. What was most interesting to me when we started, he did not know what note values were. He did not know what a quarter note was, what an eighth note was, 16th note. If you said play quarter notes, he wouldn't have known what that was. He literally did everything by ear. You take somebody who can't see or visualize what sheet music looks like, try to explain what notation looks like, because I knew that once we got into the inner workings of GarageBand, that he would need to understand note subdivisions, and we might come across these terms in the use of the software. So first thing out of the gate was to get him to understand music notation, even though he couldn't see. And for example, as an aside, I had to spend several minutes one time explaining to him why sighted people might confuse a lowercase l with an uppercase I. He couldn't fathom how in the world we could make that mistake. Back to music notation. I brought egg cartons from home and ping pong balls. And I basically taped it so that there would be 16 little egg compartments together, and I would put ping pong balls in various ones, and he would run his hands across the tops and feel. And so we would set it where each little divot was a 16th note, and that would be like one measure, or each was an eighth note and it would be like two measures. So I would put the ping pongs in a certain pattern, and he would say, all right, this is a dotted eighth and a 16th, this is a quarter note, this is, a half note, this is like an eighth note and two 16th notes. And he would just feel the ping pong balls in the egg cartons and tell me what the rhythms were. Once we had covered the basics of that, we met in the computer lab. I quickly learned that when you enable the accommodations for sight impaired people, the computer does not function the same way. So my big mistake was I thought that if I could teach him the key commands in GarageBand, if I could get him to memorize the key commands, that he would be able to navigate his way around faster. And I even had one of the departments of the university help create a Braille menu of what the key commands were in GarageBand. Complete wasted time, because this is what happens. If you want the computer to audibly talk you through things, suddenly all of the cited key commands are disabled. You cannot even use Command C, Command V, you can't use any of that. There are literally only, I think, 4 functions with the whatever that's called on a computer, with the accommodations. Or you can navigate up, down, left, right with the arrow keys. You can move further into something. So you have to navigate everything from the pull-down menus, okay? So through the pull-down menus, you navigate to the item you want, and then there's a key command for entering into that thing. Then there's a key command to actually engage with the thing, and then there's the key command to back out. So anytime he wanted to do anything, he had to arrow up, 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 over, 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 down, 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 down. And if he would have to systematically go down and let the computer verbally tell him what each menu item was. And if it wasn't on that one, he had to go to the next one, go all the way down, all the way back up, go to the next one, all the way down. It was so tiresome. I truly, up until that point, had no comprehension of how massively challenging it is for someone who does not have the gift of sight to navigate on a computer. Forget even getting into the little, audio edit window in GarageBand. Like, that wasn't even something that we ever figured out how to do. Basically, we had the 13 weeks of the semester to learn what a 16th note was, a quarter note, eighth note, to figure out how to even get GarageBand to launch, to figure out that once this computer was giving the audio, like verbal, I had spent all that time getting the Braille menu of key commands printed, and they didn't work. They were disabled. The semester ended, and the university wanted me to take another semester with this student and teach him even more how to try to use GarageBand. But it was my determination that this was not ever going to end up being productive for him, for this student. Gordon Mote is a fairly well-known blind piano player. He actually was my friend in college. He played in my senior recital. I even called Gordon Mote and got him on speakerphone with my student, and he was able to encourage him somewhat, but I knew Gordon had his own keyboard that was just like a workstation rather than trying to use a computer program. But it was a very eye-opening experience for me as an educator. It gave me such extreme empathy for those with vision impairment to understand the hurdles that they have to overcome. I at this point, I can't believe that it hasn't been made easier. Hopefully it will be. But it was a very eye-opening experience and probably one of the most challenging things I've ever had to do as a university educator.